Hello everyone, hope all of you are fine. Beta, this lecture is also in continuation of revision of chapter 4 and name of the chapter is The Central Islamic Lands. Beta, in previous lecture we discussed about the learning and culture in the Islamic states, and the today's topic is in continuation of the same topic of learning and culture. As you know, at the beginning of 11th century, Ghazni became the center of Persian literary life, and poets they were naturally attracted by the brilliance of the imperial court. As you know that so many imperial court they designated poets in their rule. Even rulers too realize the importance of patronizing arts and learning for enhancing their prestige. As you know that rulers they just want to patronize, they just want to innovate learning that increase their prestige also. Mahmud of Ghazni gathered around him a group of poets who composed anthologies and epic poetry, and the most outstanding was the Firdausi, which took 30 years to complete the Shahnama. Shahnama, beta, Shah means king. It was the book of kings. It is an epic of 50,000 couplets. Beta, couplets hota hai, that is a combination of two sentences, which has become a masterpiece of Islamic literature. The Shahnama is a collection of traditions and legends which poetically depicts Iran from creation up until the Arab conquest. And even it was in keeping the Ghaznavid tradition that Persian later became the language of administration and culture in India. It means by enhancing this literature, uh, Islam was becoming famous all over the world. And the catalogue of Baghdad bookseller Ibn Nadim describes a large number of works written in prose for the moral education and amusement of readers. It means some story books were also written at that time for the entertainment of the readers. And the oldest of these is a collection of animal fables called Kalila wa Dimna, that is the story of two jackals, which is the Arabic translation of a Pahlavi version of the Panchtantra. As you have must have heard about the stories of Panchtantra, so it is the translation of that Panchtantra only. And the most widespread and lasting literary works are the stories of hero adventure, such as Alexander and Sindbad, and those of unhappy lovers also. Those are known as Majnu. These have developed over the centuries into oral and written traditions, and The Thousand and the One Night is another collection of stories told by a single narrator, Shahrazad, to her husband night after night. And do you know so many these stories? These are still famous. And the collection was originally in Indo Persian and was translated into Arabic in Baghdad in the 8th century. And even more stories were later added, and these stories depict human beings of different types, the stupid, the generous, the crafty, and were told to educate and entertain. In his Kitabul Bukhala, Jahiz of Basra collected amusing anecdotes about misers and also analyzed greed. It means the other than to patronize the culture, royal culture, there were so many literary work. Those were just for the entertainment of the people. And from the 9th century onwards, the scope of adab was expanded to include biographies, manuals of ethics, mirrors for princes, and above all history and geography. It means now the scope was increasing about all these books also. And the tradition of history writing was well established in literate Muslim societies. History books were read by scholars and students as well as by the broader literate public. And for rulers and officials, history provided a good record of glories and achievements of a dynasty as well as a good examples of the techniques of administration, as every dynasty have its own qualities of administration. And the whole of human history was treated with the Islamic period as the focal point. And the tradition of local history writing developed with the breakup of the caliphate. Books were written in Persian about dynasties, cities, or regions to explore the unity and variety of the world of Islam. As you know, after division of caliphate, after breakup of caliphate, different Muslim kingdoms were set up, and even geography and travel constituted a special branch of adab. These combined knowledge from Greek, Iranian, and Indian books, and also the observation of merchants and travelers. In mathematical geography, the inhabited world was divided into 7 climes parallel with the equator, corresponding to our 3 continents. And the exact position of each city was determined astronomically. And even Ehsanul Takshim is a comparative study of the countries and people of the world and a treasure trove of exotic curiosities. So this way now these people, they were just learning about the geography also. And Al-Biruni's famous Tehqiq-e-Hind, History of India, was the greatest attempt by an 11th century Muslim writer to look beyond the world of Islam and observe what was of value in another cultural tradition. It means now these Muslim writers, they started writing about the other traditions also. And by the 10th century, an Islamic world had emerged which was easily recognizable by travelers. Religious buildings were the greatest external symbols of this world. As you know that Islamic architecture, it had some specific features which give a recognition to the Islamic world, like mosques, shrines, and tombs from Spain to Central Asia showed the same basic design: arcs, domes, minarets, and open courtyards, and expressed the spiritual and practical needs of Muslim. So all over these area, we can find the Islamic architecture. And even in the first Islamic century, the mosque acquired a distinct architectural form. The roof supported by pillars which transcended regional variations, and the mosque had an open courtyard where a fountain or pond was placed, leading to a vaulted hall which could accommodate long lines of worshippers and prayer leaders. Imam beta. So that is why everywhere in mosque these type of architectural Islamic architectural features were common. And 2 specific features were located inside the hall. That was a niche mihrab in the wall. Beta, mihrab is a deep place in the wall indicating the direction of Makkah, and a pulpit from where sermons were delivered during noon prayers on Friday. Beta, pulpit hota hai a raised platform, and niche or mihrab, it is a deep place in the wall. And even attached to the building was the minarets, a tower used to call the faithful to prayer at the appointed times and to symbolize the presence of new faith. Time was marked in cities and villages by the 5 daily prayers and weekly sermons. As you know that 5-time namaz, that is a very important, significant ritual of Muslim world. And the same pattern of construction, a building built around a central courtyard, appeared not only in mosque but also in the Karwa Sarais. Beta, Karwa Sarais, when people they move from one to another place, तो उनके जो कारवा होते थे, just for it was the resting place for them. Hospitals and palaces also were built accordingly, and the Umayyads built desert palaces in oases such as Khirabat Mafzar in Palestine and Qusair Amra in Jordan, which served as luxurious residences and retreats for hunting and pleasure. and the palaces modelled on Roman and Sasanian architecture were lavishly decorated with sculpture, mosaics, and paintings of people. The Abbasids built a new imperial city in Samarra, and it contains gardens and running waters, which is mentioned in the stories and legends revolving around Harun al-Rashid. And the great palaces of the Abbasid caliphs in Baghdad or the Fatimids in Cairo have disappeared, leaving only traces in literary texts. It means now this Muslim world, it was recognized by the new architecture and new literary works. And the rejection of the representing living beings in the religious art of Islam promoted two art forms. बेटा जो इनका religious art होता है of these Muslims, there they cannot represent the living beings, and two art forms were calligraphy, that was the art of beautiful writing, and arabesque, that was the geometrical and vegetal designs. Small and big inscriptions, usually of religious quotations, were used to decorate architecture. Calligraphic art was being best preserved in manuscripts of the Quran dating from the 8th and 9th centuries, and literary works such as Kitabul Aghani, Kalila wa Dimna, and Maqamat of Hariri were illustrated with miniature paintings. In addition, a wide variety of illumination techniques were introduced to enhance the beauty of a book. Plant and floral designs based on the ideas of the garden were used in buildings and books illustration. You must have seen in the various monuments, we can see the floret work on the walls. And the history of the Central Islamic lands brings together three important aspects of human civilization. Those were the religion, community, and politics. We can see them as three circles which merge and appear as one in the 7th century, and in the next 5 centuries the circles separate towards the end of our period. And the influence of Islam over state and government was minimal, and the politics involved many things which had no sanction in religion. And the Muslim community was united in its observance of the Sharia in rituals and personal matters, because all of them, they worked according to the Shariat law. The only way the circles of religion and community could have separated was through the progressive secularization of Muslim society. But now these Muslim people, they were giving importance to the other religion also. Philosophers and Sufis advocated this, suggested that civil society should be made autonomous, free, and rituals be replaced by private spirituality. So beta, this was the topic about the Central Islamic lands. Thank you and have a nice day.